Os. Welcome UNLV students to the Shotokan Karate Studies program. By now you should know you've already warmed up, you've gotten the warm-up that you feel your body needs, you're adequate for starting the program this morning. So let's go ahead and get started with our typical, quick, general warm-up. Ready? And Hajime. Ichi. Ni. San. Yon. Go. All right, warmed up good there. Let's turn to the side, bring our heels to our glutes. Good, all right. Let's go ahead and do some high knees as well. Get my workout recorded, here we go. High knees. You can do this slow, just like I'm doing. Again, just bringing your knees up. You can do it fast if you feel like kind of bouncing a little bit, working your calves a little bit. Or if you want to go slow, go slow. And yame. All right, let's come up on our toes, stretching out our calves. And yame. Very good. All right, let's go ahead and do some body hip twist. And yame. Good. Arm up, across the side, stretching out our shoulder. Good, other side. Again, don't hold these too long. Just doing dynamic stretches here. Nothing too static, nothing being held for too long. Switching over. Other side. Good. Feet just widen shoulder width. Go down, touch the floor. Go to the right. Back to center. Go to the left. Back to center. All right, make that a little wider. We're gonna go down to the right, turning up on our left heel, stretching out our hamstring. Good, now we're gonna turn to the left in a long front stance. Pushing on the quad here, pushing the knee over the toe. And down to a runner stand, or a runner stretch. Good. Back up. All right, we're gonna do everything to the other side now. Leaning to the left onto the right heel. Toes pointed up. Stretching out your hamstring. All right, let's rotate that all the way around. Good front stance, long, deep, pushing on the quad, pushing the knee out over the toe, getting a good stretch. Transition that into a runner stretch. And come back to center, come back standing. Good. Turn around, fix your gi. Back to me. Yoi. Subirachi. Pray. Yoi. Seiza. Dojo-kun. 一つ、人格完成に人を盛ること。一つ、誠の道を守ること。一つと力の精神を養うこと。一つ礼儀を重んずること。一つ景気の湯を戒しもらうこと。Ready? That's it. よい。すばらしい。Ready? よい。So today's class is an advanced class, and I promised you last week when we went over the kata Kanku that we would go over the Bunkai this week. So that's what we're doing today, is going over the Bunkai for the kata Kanku. Now I'm going to break this up into two classes, and I'm going to explain why. I know you love to hear me talk. So what we're going to do today is typically how I would handle a class if you were in my dojo in person. All right. So what we would typically do is we go over a section of the kata, we go over the Bunkai for it, right? And then I ask you to go and practice that on your own. Right, so you would partner up with someone, and then you guys would practice it on your own, and I would kind of walk around class and say, okay, you're doing this correctly, or try doing your hands this way, or moving your stance this way, and kind of move around the class and help give pointers to everyone who's practicing that particular part of the kata, right? And then we would close out that section, and we would move on to another section. So that's kind of what I want to do today. So we're going to go over the kata, right? We're going to actually perform the kata first, and then we're going to go over a section of the kata. And where I would typically tell my students, okay, let's all try that. So partner up, let's go practice that. I want you to pause the video and actually go and do that. So take your time, go off, practice it a couple times, make sure you have it down the way I've explained it, and then come back. So you're going to see a fade in the video. So you're going to see me say, okay, give that a try. Video's going to fade out. Video is going to fade back in, and I'm going to go to the next section. So class might be a little bit shorter than normal, but not for you. For what you're seeing, yes, it might be a little bit shorter, a little bit. But for you, you should be taking that time when I say, okay, give that a try. You should be practicing that a few times, all right? Seeing what it feels like, seeing what it looks like. If you have the gift of having a partner to work with, try it with your partner. Try it with someone who's taller, someone who's shorter, someone who's wider, someone who's the same height and weight as you, that you can give this a try with, okay? Then come back, and then we'll go through the next section. And this class will most likely be broken up into two sections. So this will be part one, because Kankudai is a long kata, and we'll go into section two next week, all right? Or not section two, but part two next week. So we'll get through a good portion of it today, but I don't want to rush through anything. Again, like I said, this is a really long kata, so let's take our time and get through it. I think what a lot of what I'm going to say today may surprise you as far as this kata is concerned, as far as the Bunkai for this kata is concerned. So remember, Bunkai is practical application. And then also remember that karate came from China, and then we modified it, and then the Japanese modified it, okay, and made it their own. And then even there, they broke it down into Shotokan, Uedo Ryu, various forms of the same thing, right? So you'll see people who do Uedo Ryu versus Shotokan versus, my mind is going blank with some of the other separations, but they're more standing up. So they'll do these things that are, their Shotokan may be up here, right? And tight, but they concentrate more on speed, whereas Shotokan is very long, right? Very linear. So our stances are long or low to the ground, and our strikes are very powerful. So we're not really concerned with speed as much as we're concerned with power,
So a lot of the separation happened. So it came from China to Japan, and then it broke off into these sections along the way. All right, so some of the things I'm going to tell you today are from the original way that the kata was intended to be done. All right, so hopefully that doesn't confuse you in any way. I don't think that it will. I'll just try to give explanation as I go today, as much as possible. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and perform the kata. If you are somewhat unfamiliar with the kata and you just want to watch, that's fine. If you know the kata and you want to go through it with me to warm up, good. Let's go through it together. Again, this is a long one, so let's go through it, and then I'll break down each section. Like I said, taking some breaks, but taking some training breaks where I will pause, give you time to go off and do your thing, come back, pause the video, unpause the video, and we'll kind of go that route today. All right, so let's go ahead and get started with the kata. Kanku. Ready? All right. All right, we'll go through protocol together. Again, if this is not a kata that you're as familiar with and you just want to watch, that's fine. Just watch. Ready? Go. Announce kata. Kanku. Your own speed and pace, and ajime. All right. 2 seconds for you to finish. Allows me to catch my breath. And yame. All right. Okay, so that's the kata. It's a long kata. Probably the longest that you've learned up to this point. The longest you've learned up to this point. Okay. So let's break it down. Bunkai is practical application. So you start the kata without moving into stance. Yes? Renchi Zentai, or natural stance. Start with your right hand over your left. Fingertips, okay? To get close. Fingertips. Right over left, okay? From here, your hands go up, separate out, you come down, and you move into these Jodan Shotokan. All right, so let's explore that. This, if you take your hands, take your right hand, put it over your left. This is supposed to be meant as a form of defense. This is a block, okay? If you have a partner, you can do this. If you don't have a partner, you can still do it. Have them just do punches out here, okay? High, low, mix it up. You do this, block, 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 okay? Because your two hands, keeping your body centered, are easily able to block those moves. Okay? If you just do it with one hand, you kind of get confused and it gets a little bit wonky, right? And you're not able to defend your body as well. Right? If I throw this hand here, a punch can come from here. If I throw this hand here, a punch can come from here. But if you do it this way, here, you're able to quickly go here, here, here. Okay? So try that. Try and put your right hand on top of your left and defend those four corners. All right? And that's originally what this is. But not only that, defend, 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 push. Okay? You're easily able to get into the inside of your opponent, right? If they're throwing these, block, 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 push. This is two hands into one. It's not this, right? This is not unilateral. It's not the same amount of pressure on each side, right? You're maybe a little bit heavier on your right. You're used to it. It's a little bit more stronger than your left. But together, it's one big push, right? It's a big piston. These are two small pistons. Put them together into one big one and push, okay? Block, 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 push, okay? Block, push, all right? So that's my interpretation. That's what I'm getting from that particular section, that this is here, and you're kind of showing your range all the way up as far as it can go. Now this part is a little different, right? So this part where you separate out and you come together, and you'll see various styles that will do this slowly. They'll separate and then slowly come down. And here, about here, they'll come together hard, and you can hear it. You can hear the two hands coming together, okay? Not saying one is right or one is wrong, but let's look at it as someone is throwing a punch, all right? It's coming from the right and you intercept. Come around and bring your hands together, okay? As your attacker, I'm coming in, you step in, one arm goes up and over, the other arm comes into here. You've intercepted, you're on the outside, so the punch doesn't hit its target, and then you're chopping here and here. So you're hitting the stomach here, the liver, and then the kidneys right back here in the back, together at the same time. So again, you see the punch coming, step in, you're stepping inside of it, so the arm is back here, coming up over their arm, down and together. So again, as your opponent, I'm punching here, you're stepping inside of it here, and coming up over, trapping this arm. It comes down, and then the double chop. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense to you. Again, you can even do it as someone coming straight to you. They're coming straight to you and you see this punch coming. Up and over the arm, step in, so the punch goes out here, step in, and then chop. Okay? Your stance changes, right? You're in more of a kibidachi or more of a side or horse stance when you do that, and that's fine, right? Again, practical application of the kata doesn't mean it follows the kata exactly, but it does, you're able to see the kata, right? You're able to see what we're talking about. So again, as that arm is coming, you're stepping up, stepping in, up over the arm, trapping it as it comes down, the chop, the double chop, okay? And that looks exactly like this, yeah? Okay, so there's two quick sections that I want you to think about, okay? The first being this block and push, the second being out and down into this chop, okay? So take a few seconds now, take a few minutes if you want, pause the video here and go work on that, okay? Try and see how that fits into exactly what we're talking about with these blocks, okay? Try to see what that means when you see that punch coming. You step up and over, trapping the arm, and coming in with that double chop, okay, to the sides of your opponent here, okay? See how that works out for you? And come back here whenever you're finished. All right, so you've been able to practice that a few times, see how it really fits, excuse me, see how it really works for you, right? All right, so after that section, we come together, our hands, and we move into this Jodan Shotokan, all right? So again, directly in front of you, we come together with our hands, and then the Jodan Shotokan, right? Okay, so the explanation of this for me, someone's grabbed my lapel here, and they're getting ready to throw a punch. So basically I'm grabbing you, and I'm wanting to throw this punch. all right? That's a fairly common thing that you might see, right? So once they've grabbed here and they're getting ready to throw that punch, you're trapping this arm, trap it down, block, okay? Then wrap around the arm and chop. Okay, so you see how the stance has changed, just like the kata, right? And stepping is important here. So whenever this is being grabbed, it's important that you grab and step. Okay, because you need to intercept that before it gets to you, that punch, before it comes, right? So if I'm here and I've grabbed you and I'm coming for that punch, you've stepped, now my punch is not as powerful. I can't step, okay, so I'm kind of stuck here. Block, okay? You've trapped this arm and pushed it down. Now you're wrapping around this arm and the chop comes in here, okay, to the carotid, to the side of the face, the side of the head, etc. All right, look at it again, okay? They grab me here. I am trapping, shuto, wrap around the arm, stepping in, shuto. Again, right here to the side of the face, okay? And you still got their arm trapped here. So you can do a lot there. After this, right, if you've got their arm trapped, well, depending on where their legs are, you can step behind and dump them to the floor, right? That's an option. I'm not saying it's part of the kata or the bunkai itself, but you're easily able to get there, right, from where I'm driving you, okay? So the directions are simple. Here, the grab, block, wrap, chop, okay? And again, in the kata, it looks like this. Okay, and then you're doing this. Now, let's go ahead and look at that second part, or that next part, okay, before I send you off to practice it. So here, right, this high jodan, Shotokan. Now you step up to here. You see how this arm moved over before I brought this hand up? Okay, this is an index, or a parry, right? So as a punch is coming, right, again, that right-handed punch, the most common punch that comes at you, that right-handed punch comes, you're parrying and blocking. Parry it, block it. All right? It's fairly simple and that makes a lot of sense, right? You see the punch coming, parry, block. That's basically what you're doing here, okay? You just completed this and now you parry and you come to this part, right? Before we do this punch and move and punch and move. Right? Okay, so again, something to work on there are those two things, right? The jodan, trap, shuto, okay? And then the next thing from there is someone is punching, you're parrying, and blocking. That's fairly simple, but I want you to take a look at it really quickly. So go ahead and take some time, practice those two things, and then come back here. All right, so let's take a look at the next section. All right, so you practiced all that. So we've gotten to the point now where we're standing here, and what comes next is this punch and this. I'm not gonna say it's a block, punch and here, okay? Now, in hesitation, right, of saying this is not really punch, block, in as much as it is a punch and a strike, and a punch and a strike. All right, and the reason I say that is because think about your blocks. All right, a block is fairly quick, right? Blocks are typically bone on bone, right? Which is why we strengthen our bones by doing these types of things with our partners as warm-ups and things like that. So when a punch comes, it's blocked quick, right? The block is done. And then you move directly into your next techniques, right? You see the punch coming, block, punch, punch. In Kanku, we punch and then this is held. And then we punch and this is held, right? That does me no good if it's just a block, right? If I punch and then go, ah! Okay, it's not a Bruce Lee movie. I don't need to stand here in this block and then punch and then stand here in this long block, right? That does me no good. It gives your opponent more time to attack or do the next thing that they're planning on doing. But when you hold a technique, it's indicative of a soft tissue strike, right? Bone on bone is a quick block, block, right? Block, we block it, it's gone, okay? Bone on bone, it's quick, it's out of the way, that thing is done. But whenever you hold, again, my interpretation, it's more indicative of a soft tissue strike. Okay? So my interpretation of what's going on here is you've punched to soften up your opponent, and now you're striking. Okay? Punch to soften your opponent, right? So as I'm standing here, I've been punched. What happens? Either you fall back or you just go forward a little bit like this. When you go forward a little bit like this, it now affords me the opportunity, punch, move that arm out of the way, strike. Punch, move that arm out of the way, strike. Okay, that's that hold that we're talking about, that long hold. Punch, it's a long hold. Longer than typical, right? Longer than a typical block would take. That's what we're doing here. Punch, strike. Punch, strike. Okay? So, again, even when you look this up in the book, it's going to tell you it's a Chudan Uchi-Uke. Punch, Chudan Uchi-Uke, right? Because that's what it looks like, and that is the technique. But in my opinion, it's more of a back fist strike. It's more of a punch, Uruken, pow, right? Punch, Uruken, pow, right? So again, it comes from here, there, and there, all right? And what I also believe would back me up on this is think about your regular uchi-uke, your regular block. Where does it come from? What do we always talk about? Grabbing your screwdriver out of your belt and stabbing it into the wall. Screwdriver out of your belt, stabbing it into the wall. Okay? You do that in Basa Dai, right? When we come up to this part, we punch, and there. Punch, and there. In Kanku Dai, it comes from your shoulders. We don't ever do uchi-uke from our shoulders, right? So again, this is my interpretation. I believe when the Japanese pulled this from the Chinese that this didn't really translate as well, okay? The punch, and then it goes to your shoulder and down. Punch to your shoulder and down. Again, more indicative of a strike than a punch, or than a block, all right? So, again, my interpretation. All right, so next thing you do after that is you come to this Koshigamai, you turn, and then you kick and back fist, or kick and block at the same time, right? And that's exactly what you're doing here, right? So think of this as a punch is coming in, you grab it, pull for control down to your side, back fist, and kick at the same time, all right? That's fairly simple, it's fairly straightforward, it is what it is, it looks exactly like what is happening, right? We come to Koshigamai, and your hands sweep out, right? Punch, block. Then you come to here, this Koshigamai, because now you're facing another direction, right? We were here, punch, block, punch, and then to here. And then we come to this, and we kick there and come back to Shotokan here, all right? So let's look at that section. So our body is turned. The strike is coming this direction. It's coming from the side. It could even be coming from behind you. You see it coming, right? You catch a glimpse of, oh, there's somebody who's getting ready to attack me. Grab, pull to the side, controlling the arm, back fist, and whatever target you can find to kick, right? It depends on how close that opponent is to you, right? So we do it from this side, right? As it comes, grab, bring it to your side. At the same time, knee, elbow, or knee and back fist, right? Back fist, kick to the inside of the thigh. Back fist, kick to the knee. Back fist, right down the shin. Back fist, maybe they're far enough away where this back fist completely misses, but you're defending, your arm is still up against maybe that left that could come in, and you're just throwing a good hard side kick, all right? So that's practical application. That is Bunkai. That is saying, I'm not exactly sure where your opponent will be, but you can adapt because what I've shown you will help you to adapt, right? As that punch comes in, control. Arms to the side. As you bring it in, strike them in the face. Kick at the same time, right? Control, kick, strike. All right? So, those are a couple of techniques that you can look at. Okay, so I want you to take a look at those. The punch, to soften, the strike. And the target of that strike is any of this. Okay, again, I'm talking about soft tissue. So the neck right here, the back of your fist is a great target for that. Punch to the chest, strike down. Punch to the chest, strike down. Right in here. All right, with the back of your fist. All right. Give that a try with your partner if you have a partner. Give it a try on your own, standing there, imagining your partner if you don't have a partner. Your bag, you can use your punching bag if you have one available. Again, look at that. Punch, strike. Punch, strike. Your next opponent is coming with that punch. Control down to the side as you back fist and kick however you want to kick. And try several different kicks. Okay? I showed you raking down the shin, kicking the knee, kicking the stomach. A knee, right? Maybe if they're right on top of you, if this has worked and you've pulled them in, their body is right here. They're right on top of you. Maybe that back fist doesn't even get executed. Maybe it's an elbow because they're right on top of you. Elbow. And then the kick. Or just this, rake down the shin. Or the knee, right? A lot of different options, and it's going to depend on your opponent. It's going to depend on, number one, how close they are to you. Did you get this executed, right? Did you actually grab them? Or did your hand kind of slip? And you don't have anything here now, but they're at a decent enough distance where you can back fist and kick. All right, so think about that, okay? Take a few seconds here, work on it on your own, and meet me back here. All right, hopefully that worked out for you. Now let's come back to this next section. This next section is really something we've gone over in Bunkai before, because this is a section that we pull from hand Nidan, right? Hand Nidan, where we are in Shotokan, and then we step into Nukite, right? I don't want to step off screen there for you, but we're Shuto, Nukite. Yeah? All right, that's fairly self-explanatory. You get what that is, you understand it. We'll go through it quickly here, but this is something that you should absolutely practice, even as part of hand Nidan, right? So, we know this. There's a strike coming, right? It's coming from the right. You block it. Now, you control that arm, wrap around it, and strike here. Right? It's just like the beginning, right? The opening where we're doing the Jodan Shutos, right? If I punch you, the block is there, the Shuto is there, okay? And then you control that arm as you come into here, the next Shuto, right? And that's what that is. Preparation is, I've got another one loaded. I got another one chambered, right? Block, control, strike. That's pretty much all you need. But let's say instead of block, control, instead of striking, they come at you with that left. Blocking. Control that left. And then strike to the carotid, or strike to the neck. All right, so again, as your opponent, it looks like this. Blocked, control, but instead of standing here and getting chopped in the neck, I'm gonna throw this left. But now you block that instead. And now the Shuto comes into there. Okay? Again, my interpretation of what this is. Shuto, control, Shuto, or block again, and then the Shuto goes. All right? So let's say it does get to that third level. Let me come at you. Block, good. You've got that under control. Maybe you control it, or maybe you don't. And you see that left coming. Shuto, you block that one. Okay, now you control the left. Shuto to the neck. Okay, and now immediately palm strike, Nukite. All right, there's so many things you can do with that third element, with this Nukite. Okay, because number one, you're backing your opponent up. They're already on their heels, right? This got blocked. Okay, so now they're trying to throw this one, and it got blocked, and you're stepping forward. That Shuto comes and hits them right here. Okay, so now they're on their heels. They're backing up. Your hand comes down across here, and now you open them up for Nukite to the chest or to the throat, okay? Palm heel to the chin, palm heel to the nose. Lots of targets there as you have backed them up into, right? Nukete to the chest, nukete to the throat, right in here, either side, there. Grab it, okay? You can grab the throat, all right? You can grab and gouge the eye up top. Palm heel to the chin, palm heel to the nose. There's so many different targets there with just a simple hand movement. Your hand doesn't have to go far to catch any one of those targets, all right? And that's essentially what's happening there, right? Shuto, trap, shuto, trap, shuto, nukete, palm heel, eye gouge, whatever it happens to be, all right? That's my interpretation of that section. It's fairly simple. It happens in Heian Nidon, all right? So, the next thing that happens from there is this. It's not complex, but I think a lot of people miss it. Okay, I'm going to show you from the back because I end up turning 180 degrees, right? So we do this nukete. I'm going to do it from here first. All right, so we do this nukete, and then we turn for that, right? We all remember this. You do this twice in this kata, and we're going to end with that today. But that's what you're doing, all right? So it is, I'm here, I'm nukete. Okay, so as you turn, this is a block, okay? A sweeping block, as you then defend and strike, okay? Now, this can be interpreted several different ways. I'm going to give you at least two. Number one, this is a gate-on sweep, okay? So as I've struck here, I see this kick coming. I sweep it. The gate-on doesn't, or the maigeri doesn't connect. I've swept with this, and now I chop, okay? So as your opponent comes in, they see your back, right? You just performed this nukete, so I'm going to kick you, but before I land that kick, you sweep, okay? You sweep that leg off to the side and then land your chop here or to the neck, right? To the side of the face or to the neck, right there. Again, the nukete is there, sweep and connect, all right? That's one interpretation of it. A lot of people will say, well, how did you see that kick? Are you magic? You know, you saw this kick coming from behind you. Now, you're essentially aware, right? We know Zanshin is just being aware of everything that's around you and happening, right? So as we've done this nukete, this palm heel strike, you kind of get a sense that something's happening behind you. It's just a sense that something's happening. So you're sweeping to make sure, right? You're making sure that nothing's coming. It could be a punch, right? We've talked about punches are more common than kicks, especially in a general sense of situation, right? There's not a lot of people who are trained for kicks. So mostly it just natural instinct is to punch. So maybe it's a big right hander coming, okay? Here's our nukete, block, control, strike. Still works, yeah? It still works exactly the same. Nukete, here, okay? Or palm heel, whatever it happens to be. That punch is coming. Block it and deliver that strike. What's powerful here is the hip rotation. 180 degree hip rotation from here to there. Because we're changing this foot, goes over there, right? There's a lot of power here in this turn, driving that hip, okay? So regardless of whether it is sweeping a maigeri and then defending, or it's a punch and you're intercepting it and then striking, all right? Two very powerful ways to defend. Number one, either against a kick or a punch, and then immediately counter. That's what Shotokan's all about. Defend and attack strong. That attack hopefully ending the fight. Okay, we've done that here. Nukete to the chest, palm heel to the nose. This guy's done. All right, we've defended 3 times. Defense, another defense, chop, strike. Okay, now we see someone coming from behind. Block, strike. Okay, So now I would ask you to take some time, go look at those techniques. Number one, the line with the Shotokan, which are essentially Shuto and maybe a strike. Nukete at the end, palm heel, eye gouge, throat strikes, whatever they happen to be. And then that turn with that gate-on sweep or that defense against that punch as you come in with that ridge hand to, again, the side of the face, anywhere along here, all the way down to the neck. All right? Let's take a few minutes there, practice that, and meet me back here. All right, so we've gotten through a fairly good amount of the kata today. This class might be broken into 3 parts now that I'm thinking about it, and I'll make sure that it's divided up correctly, but we've gotten through to the point now where we've done our first turn and strike. Yeah? All right, the next thing you do is you kick, and then you do this manji-uke, come up, right? Come up to here, okay? And then you repeat that strike, same thing, manji-uke, all right? So we've got a long way to go, all right? So to be honest with you, let's maybe break this up into 2 more classes. So we'll do this as a 3-parter. So next week we'll do part 2. We'll kind of revisit a little bit of what we did today, just as confirmation that you guys understand what we're doing and how far we've gotten thus far. We'll get right into the next sections, and then part 3 we'll again review 1 and 2, and then finish up the kata, right? Because I think the ending, that last part, there's a lot of new things that you're doing that you haven't done in any other kata, right? And so I want to make sure I take some time to really explain that, and I don't think I can get it done in just 2 parts now that I'm thinking about it. And essentially how long this class has been thus far, and as far as we've gotten. So I think this absolutely needs a part 3. So we'll do that, and then we'll come back and we'll have wrapped up the Bunkai for Kanku. All right, so let's come back to center of class today. Yoi, Subirachi, right, yo, Seiza. All right, today's meditation, I want you to go over what we've gone over thus far. Right? Think about it in your mind. Think about the kata up to the section that we stopped at today and how you would actually practically implement the things that we learned against 1, 2, maybe 3 opponents. All right? Makuso. So you may, Sensei, you ready? Tate. Yo. Subirachi. Right. Yo. Os. All right, students, thank you for joining me for the class today. Hopefully you got something out of this. It's not necessarily as much of a workout as much as it is a learning process, and we've learned quite a bit today. But during the times that you should have been pausing the video, hopefully you got a good workout there. Hopefully you were able to work with a partner. If not, and you were able to practice these things on your own, that's perfectly acceptable because I need you to get the practice. All right, we'll see you in the next class next week for part 2. Os.